Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's break the dumb barrier. Sisters and brothers, we want to talk about weather. Where's weather? How does it affect us? How do we affect it? So we have a brief presentation on the weather. Brings up to speed on what that's all about because it's affecting the world, it's affecting America, and there's a lot of conversation about it. But what is it? What is it? Is it beyond our control? Do we control it? What is it? See, basically, weather is pressure. The atmosphere is our weather, and the atmosphere is pressure. It's currents. It's currents. See? A very strong current, that could be a hurricane, tornado. Currents, twisting currents, right? Tornadoes. It's all currents. But our whole entire reality is pressure. Thought is pressure. Thought is pressure. So we must understand our creation, our universe, and we're the gods that we say we are. And we must understand these things and see if we are able to control the things, or if we even in fact do control them. Because we're told that the weather conditions now are the cause of human behavior. So let's see how much truth there is in that. What do I mean by loss of structural integrity? Loss of structural integrity. Okay, we have those of you familiar with the story of Adam, creation of Adam, the angels, so forth. Well, if you listen to Sunni you listen to Christianity, so forth, those invisible things, angel. We don't deal with that kind of stuff here. Angels are us. Adam is Yaqub's creation. It came to exist 6,000 years ago. So those of you who have been studying, we've been going through a 50,000 year cycle of energy deprivation. The way Elijah Muhammad explained, he says, well, Earth is going into a negative cycle. I guess you could say it that way. And at any rate, when he went a little further, he said that Earth was in a negative cycle, and there was this vacuum, right? And so that's where Dr. Dr. Yaqub, he filled it with Adam for 6,000 years. But the cycle actually been going for 50,000 years. They only got the last 6,000 years of it. They lost a great deal of that. 2,000 years in the caves, another 1,000 years locked up in Europe, Prophet Muhammad. But when you understand these two, we're suffering energy deprivation. We're going to explain that a little more in detail. That means there wasn't enough energy, because as the universe expands, all the energy you see out there used to be here, used to be the atmosphere of the Earth. Expand means the energy went away. And that's what caused the stars and galaxies and constellations. Didn't come from anywhere. The Quran tells you it came from here. It says the earth and the heavens were one. And then we spread out the heavens. So as a process of doing that, had less energy here, less energy for us. So as the universe kept expanding, as it got to its maximum expansion, right? That's the least amount, that's the point of time was the least amount of energy on Earth. And during that period of time, that 50,000 year period, we would suffer energy deprivation, different levels of it, but still, in effect, we would suffer energy deprivation. And it took its most extreme, right, manifestation in the last 400 or 500 years. We had no control of ourselves whatsoever. See? We have enough energy to maintain civilization, so it got to the point we didn't have enough energy to maintain ourselves, maintain our own freedom. We lost it all. Lost our land, our freedom, our language, right? Our culture, our civilization, and we lost our minds, lost it all. So now our universe is contracting, so all energy is coming back. And it comes back in waves approximately every 50 years. And we got the first positive wave back in our 1860s. And so we broke our physical chain. We got another one like around 1910, around that era. So we got mental chains because we had the likes of Noble Ali, Marcus Garvey, Master Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, and that start, right, rejuvenate our mental capabilities. Then in the 60s, we broke our social chains. There's lockdown socially, broke this. So now we're exactly 50 years from that, and now we're getting ready to break all chains. But the idea is that during that time, right, preceding that, we'll suffer energy deprivation. So Yaku filled the gap, right, by taking fill that vacuum by creating someone that didn't require as much energy to maintain themselves. So they had disposable energy, so to speak, disposable income. Then they have more money. That's what so disposable income. You have more money than you need to take care of your budget, your needs. So you have money for those other things. And that was them. So we was like Lamborghinis, didn't have enough energy, to fill our gas tank. We couldn't do anything. It was a beautiful car, but we couldn't do anything. It was locked in the garage. But they was Volkswagen Beetle, and it didn't cost them much. Insurance payments was low, right? They didn't have to buy expensive gas, cheap car tires, and everything. So they was running around town, but they was structurally weak. See, wasn't built that well. See, so they wasn't built to withstand pressure. That's what I mean loss of structural integrity. Because once both of them exposed to pressure, that Volkswagen Beetle is going to collapse. It loses structural integrity. See, and so they got to use all the energy they have to try to maintain that structural integrity. See, like we tried to use all the energy we had to try to maintain, right, our structural integrity from a different point of view because they're under pressure, but I was under tension. So I was being pulled apart. See, so we're stuck in tension. Everything is pulled, being taken away from us. See, but then they're the opposite. Pressure's coming down. It's all the nations are coming. Everybody's coming against it. So and they can't. The structure is not strong enough. The government, that's the structure. The government, their economic system, all their systems can't is not built strong enough, right, to handle the pressure that is increasing. That's increasingly pressing upon them. Hope you understand that, because they have this structure, democracy, capitalism, all kinds of stuff. These are structures that's expression of their minds, extension of their mind. But these structures, you see structures right now, they're crumbling. Defund the police, right? The Supreme Court, the pack Supreme Court, because they're trying to figure out a way to come with better structure. You understand? It's like when you got a lot of weight on your back. Say you're carrying around a 100-pound bag, you keep shifting it because it's so heavy. Try to shift it, so it don't break your back. You try to find a more comfortable. So that's what they're trying to find something. But the pressure's so great, they can't. They're trying to look at, hey, how can I ease this pressure? How can I ease this pressure? And then all the nations are coming against it. How can I, stop, get them off of me? How can I come to some kind of agreement? Can I do something? But they can't because the pressure's greater than that. They can't come up with a structure, right? That's structure is strong enough, right? Solid enough to deal with the pressures they're under. That's why you see all the institutions are coming apart. The police, right? That's institutions coming apart, right? The military institutions coming apart, right? Their economy is coming apart, right? Their school system, all of it. All this under extreme pressure because you see it. So that's why you see all this stuff happen because that means everybody's complaining because those structures and they're trying to find better structures. Do we got to change it? We got to change it because dissatisfaction brings about a change. And that's dissatisfaction. Because they can't handle the pressures. They're trying to find stronger, better systems. And that's what they're doing right now. Let's find a better system. Let's change this. Because they wouldn't be doing that if they wasn't under pressure. That's what I mean loss of structural integrity. So that means when you lose structural integrity, there's that building that collapsed down in Miami. it lost structural integrity. So it's facts. That's a sign. That's a major sign for these people because all their bills will be collapsed in a minute. See, those things just don't happen out of nowhere. That's a sign. But I'm not going to go into signs today. I'm not going to go into that, right? You remember it says that Jesus was taught the interpretation of signs. Let's see. Structural deformation. Well, you have loss of structural integrity. It means you can't maintain structure, but structural deformation is actually crushing. You don't get on your form anymore. You can't hold the form. Structural deformation. You can't hold your structure anymore. Can't hold it. That's in the process actually because the loss of structural integrity means hey, you're rocking. You feel the your stress marks and everything. Like they call it with the stress lines that they call like earthquakes and everything, right? So what do you call it? I forget what they call it, but so when you structural deformation means, right? You was, you were a circle, but now you're not a circle anymore. You're something else. See, negative. See, because when you're under pressure, you're going to transform. Once you reach a pressure threshold, you either transform positively or negatively, like coal. If it's a positive transformation, it's a diamond. Negative transformation, it's dust. Tension versus pressure. That's the situation. Tension versus pressure. Like I said, when the universe, um, when the universe is maximum extension, right, moves under tension because all the energy was pulled away from us, so we didn't have enough. But now, when it's contracting, it's pressure. Now, pressure, we love pressure because that's me. Everything's coming back to us. But they were created in tension. And so now pressure is against them. So they're under pressure now. It says they would not withstand more than 6,000 years. They cannot survive more than 6,000 years. Structural deformation. And see, that's what, right now, we're under control of them, and that's Master Muhammad come and separate it, because we have the spatial mind and the analytical mind. I'm not going into detail about that, but it's analytical mind, right? That's them that has under control, right? They was dominating us. And that's what Master Muhammad came to begin that separation. He's that lightning, begin that separation from it too. We're going to talk about separation in a minute. See, we have people telling us we don't need to separate. See? But when you understand this, you understand they're liars. Okay? Here's the earth, right? Earth is the center of the universe. We can prove it if you understand that mathematics, because the Quran says it's momentous in the heavens and the earth, but it comes you but of a sudden. It's momentous in the heavens and earth, and it comes you but of a sudden. And if you understand that the energy waves come back, the only way that could be possible would have to be the center of the universe. Because otherwise, it's like if you took and dropped a stone in a pond, see the waves going out, right? Now, if you reverse that process, right, the waves coming in. But if you're not in the center, right, then they're not going to converge on you. They're just going to pass you. It's only going to converge on that center point. That means that'd be the center. So if you off of it, the wave will hit you, but that particular wave will just keep past you until it gets down to the center. Hope you understand that. That's why we know the Earth is the center of the universe. Okay. Now what I'm showing here is this is the universe, the Earth. You see the Earth there and the universe, right? All the stars and everything. And I'm showing it at a time of full expansion. The universe expanded out, Earth in the center, right? Just a analogy, right? Okay. And what happens is now it's expanded like that. Well, maybe I should show it expanding, but I'm just showing it contracting. So then, now it's contracted. Now what I'm trying to show here is is that the universe at this point is our atmosphere. I said earth and the heavens were one. That's our atmosphere. And we atmosphere is all that energy, right? All that, I mean, you can't imagine. It's like the most gigantic star ever, the mother of all stars. All the energy, so it's really extremely hot, very high pressure, right? But what I'm trying to show here, let me back up here. Now, the universe represents pressure. I said everything is pressure. See, so but at that point, it's a state of tension because tension is the opposite of pressure. So when it starts collapsing, the pressure increases, increases, increases. Like you try to squeeze a balloon, the more you squeeze it, right, the greater you can feel the greater the pressure is, right? Because you're trying to make it to a smaller space, right? So as it gets smaller and smaller, the pressure builds. Now, what's going to stop it from just collapsing into nothing? Because at the center, at the Earth, that pressure, as it collapses, right? When both pressures are equal, the inner pressure and outer pressure equal, then it stops because they're both equal, right? So that's what stops the universe because the inner pressure and outer pressure becomes equal. At that point, that's when it stops contracting. But the point is, and you need to understand, brothers and sisters, right? That thought is pressure, and we're at the center of the earth. So we're the real true center of the universe. We're the center. That's why I say the cream of the planet Earth, because the center of Earth is this. It is the bottom of the Earth, because remember the Earth is round, right? So the bottom it will be the center, and the cream rises from the bottom to the top. That's why I say we're the cream of the planet Earth, right? So at the center. But thought is pressure. So when the universe contracts all the way down to the point where the pressure on the outside is equal to pressure inside, that means the pressure inside is what? It's thought. It's pressure, but it's thought. It means consciousness. Thought is consciousness. It's pressure, right? Thought is pressure, but it's conscious pressure. It's conscious. Well, it's conscious because when they're both pressure equal, that means the inside is equal to the outside. That means if the inside is thought, right, then that means that thought is equal, because thought is pressure, is equal to the pressure of the outer universe. So when you understand that thought is pressure, it means it understands the entire universe. Because thought is pressure. And so if both are equal, and inner pressure is thought, that means that thought is equal to the outer, which is the universe. So if thought is equal, that means it understands the entire universe. That's what it's called, God of the universe. Because we can understand the entire universe because our pressure, the pressure in the center, is thought. That's our thought. Hope you understand that. That's crucial. So now both are equal. So the universe stops contracting. See? But the inner pressure is thought. And the outer pressure, is heat, fire. So they're both equal. But the inner side is conscious of the outside. Totally conscious of it because it's equal to it. That makes us God, universe. Understand that. But the other one, right, that's our atmosphere. But it's also saying that atmosphere, right, because at that point, right, the whole universe is our atmosphere, the earth. Very hot, extreme pressure, but still the atmosphere. And our brains are equal to it, our thought equals it. So we control it. We control the atmosphere. What is the atmosphere? Weather. We control it 100% because it's equal. Our thoughts equal to it. So I'm showing the two sides here. See, on the left side, that's Dr. Yakub. See? They're becoming under pressure now because the universe is contracting. They was created when the universe was expanding. see, going away. But now it's contracting. So they're under pressure. But us, right, during that time, right, when they was created, the universe going away, so we were suffering energy deprivation. So it wasn't enough energy for us, but it was a lot enough energy for them. Because they had weak structure. That's how they would do it. Less structure, right? They had energy for other things. Because they had to maintain a very complex, sophisticated body. So they had plus energy for other things. But that means they had a weaker body. So if that body comes under pressure, it would not be able to withstand it. And that's what I'm trying to show here. Right? So now they're under pressure because the universe is contracting now, and now they're undergoing structural deformation. But in that point in time it was created, right, the universe was going away from us, so we're suffering energy deprivation. One is pressure and one is tension. I hope you understand that. So what does that mean? Okay, all the institutions, everything are collapsing. But now the energy is, so energy is increasing. It's increased for everybody. They get more energy also. But they just like when we energy deprivation, we have energy to maintain our outer structure, maintain ourselves, our civilization, you know, organization, our technology. We have enough energy to maintain all that, and we eventually lost control of ourselves. But in their case, right, they have more and more energy, right? But they have to use more and more of that energy because because they're under pressure. They try to maintain their structure. Remember, they're losing structural integrity because now they got to spend more money, right? More energy trying to maintain institutions because they're under pressure. So it means, you know, so they get more energy, but it's not doing them any good because they have to use their energy to maintain, right, their structure because their structure cannot withstand the pressure. Let me say that again. If you say you put a Volkswagen Beetle right under pressure, right, then you got to start buying stuff, rods and other kind of stuff, to try to keep it, hold it up, because you know it's going to collapse. So now they got institutions, they got to use more and more energy to maintain, right, because crime is getting out of control, so they got to get, you know, so get more energy to maintain their law enforcement, whatever, their courts, their right, their military with diseases, this virus out there. Again, that's part of the pressure now. They're trying to maintain things, so it's costing more and more energy to maintain it. So they get more energy, see, but they have to use it to hold their structure together. And their structures is too weak. So that means it takes much more. It's not efficient. So it takes much more and more energy to try to keep these structures, try to keep America, America. I guess that's another way of saying it. They want to maintain democracy. They maintain the way America is, right? See, that's why I say they fundamentally changed America. Yeah, America's fundamentally changed because they cannot withstand the pressures. So these democracy, capitalism, um, the economic system. Well, that's capitalism, right? Social systems, their education, military. All this stuff is collapsing now. And they're trying to hold it up. They're trying to maintain it. But they come to realize that they said, we got to restructure America because they realize these institutions cannot withstand the pressure of the times. But they can't come up with a structure that can withstand it. And that means they crush to dust. See, they had that problem back 500 years ago, you see, because they was under the pressure of Islamic Empire. And that put pressure on them. So much pressure that was about to crush them out of existence. They was in the so-called Dark Ages, but they was able to restructure themselves, come with a structure that was stronger. They come with all these different systems they have now. democracy, cap, all these systems we have now was strong enough, right, to withstand, offset the pressure that Islamic empire was putting on them. And once that happened, right, then their structure became equal to the pressure that was put on them. So the Islamic empire had no power over them no more. Because now they had a structure that could withstand that pressure. So it had no power. That's why the so-called Islamic empire, right, last 500 years has no pressure over them at all. Had nothing. They could do nothing with them. See? Islam has had nothing out of not victory in 500 years because the pressure that they put on them, they caused them to transform to institution stuff that was able to withstand, right, the pressures of the Islamic empire. So therefore, if the pressure is equal, then it doesn't affect you anymore. Just like we don't feel the pressure. We're under tremendous pressure by this atmosphere. We don't feel it more because the pressure inside that our heart generates is equal to the pressure outside, so we don't feel it. You don't even notice it. See? You don't even notice it. If you take a can, to buy a can from a can of super some at the store, whatever. I mean, you can Google it and take all the air out of it. And that thing will collapse like that into almost nothing. Because the only reason why it didn't, because the pressure inside was equal to the pressure outside. So it was equal. And so the pressure outside had no effect on it anymore. And that's what happened to, that's what talking about the Quran, right? It says God can make, God will be let loose, right? Because once it was Islam actually that transformed them, that made them transform into a greater transformation, and then they had no power with them anymore. Then they came out. So that's why they playing games. They play with Sunnism and Islam. They play with it. At least the form of Islam that's in the world today. They play with it because it had no effect on them because they actually caused their transformation. But now they're under pressure. So now can they transform into something else? Because remember, they transformed everything. They was under the Catholic Church, separation church and state. They changed. They went to smash the mags. They changed everything. Democracy. They was on the feudal systems, on the kings and all that kind of stuff. They changed all that. They had to restructure themselves, and that structure they came up with was they put the Catholic Church on the side. They would push the Islamic Empire on the side. Nothing had no effect of it anymore. Because now they had a structure that could withstand that pressure that they were under. And they've been going like that for 500 years. But now the pressure is increasing, and now these institutions that they had, that survived for the last 500 years, right, are now being tested. They're under stress. They've been stress tested, and they're failing. Hope you understand what I'm saying, brothers. They're failing. And they're going to continue, they're going to be crushed. Unless they can find they can reorganize to some other kind of structure, right, that can withstand this pressure, and they're not able to, because they said they only had the ability to do that for 6,000 years. So now they don't have the ability, right, because that's when you put someone under pressure, you have a pressure threshold where it can't withstand that pressure anymore. That means it has to do one or two things. It has to reorganize to a greater structure that will withstand it or be crushed. So in the case of coal, it's transformed into a diamond. But some coal doesn't make it and it's crushed to dust once you reach that threshold. Now America has virtually reached that threshold. So they're going to be, within a few days, right? This year, they will not get past this year. They've already come in to year their threshold. So this year they have to completely transform. That's what they're trying to do. They keep talking, we got to transform it. Defund the police. Got to change the way education on critical race theory. Transform the military. Got to take it on. Can't distinguish gender from, all this stuff. Total transformation of the whole society. Because they're trying to find something that can withstand this pressure they're under, and they're not going to be able to. And so what does that mean? They can't withstand it. So that means confusion. So you see confusion. They can't tell a gender from a gender anymore. When you look at it and say, that don't make any sense. It don't make right. But to them, they're confused because that's what it is. When you're under pressure, you get confused. And that confusion is increasing every day. They're making these crazy laws. I mean, a person can go in and say, well, oh, I feel like I'm female, just walk into her. With his clothes, they said in the story, this guy was naked and walked to the women's young girls. Tell me, well, I don't worry about me. I'm a female. And the woman still had to throw his behind out. And everybody was got mad at her. Said, "Hey man, you can't measure. Leave him alone, man. He's a transgender." And she said, "I don't care about that. That's no difference between a male and a female." I mean, everybody it was on her case because that's confusion that comes with being with loss of structural integrity and loss of structure. That's a um, uh, um, indication of structural deformation because their logic and reason makes no sense. Structural deformation, the institutions make no sense. None of it is frightening because it doesn't make it. You look at it and say, that doesn't make any sense. Why are they doing that? See? Why are letting people run across the border? And you got a virus raging and all this stuff that it says, and you teach your children critical race and they argue. Why because that's evidence of structural deformation or institution, everything they're in decline, they're in confusion. And at the fundamental base of it, what's the fundamental, right? The fundamental, right, of in society is the male and the female. Gender. That's fundamental. That's the base. They said the family is the base. But what causes the family? Male feel like so the structure gets down to that level, right? To when it gets down to that level, that means it's about to collapse because the pressure when it gets down to that level, right? And so that's what they are, right? Because now they can't distinguish male and female anymore, transgender and everything else. And they teach their children that, right? And so and you got children get checks, going to get gender reassignment. And it's prevailing. That's the whole story about Sodom and Gomorrah. See, because what happened is that they lost any control. The gender became totally confused. So men was acting like women acting like men, transgender. It was just totally at the fundamental base, sexuality, gender. And that's what caused Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction. That's what the story is telling you, that they lost structural control at the foundation, at the base level. See? And the only reason why they haven't collapsed already, because in one case, Abraham was in one city and Lot was in another city. Right? And what? Remember, now they wasn't suffering from structural deformation. So they wasn't confused. You see? So they was balancing out. They was neutralizing a lot of the effects that they would generate because when you don't see, in other words, all the energy has to be used to try to maintain, so you don't have no more disposable energy, so to speak. So that means now they got negative energy now. They generate negative energy. They don't have enough energy to maintain structure. So now they generate negative energy. And negative energy, right? Remember the atmosphere, we control the atmosphere, so therefore both is pressure. So now you generate negative vibes and you generate negative vibes, right? Because in the pressure, in the atmosphere. So the atmosphere starts acting negative. It's a reflection of us because both pressure together. So therefore, right? So they start losing control of the weather because the weather's a reflection of, remember, both are equal. In this case, I thought it's great because the universe expands. So the atmosphere here, we have more control of it now than would have, because remember, most of it's out there. So just the atmosphere right here, this is the part that we have more control of it because it's just that much. We still have control of the heavens. That's another thing. See, we have control of everything. See, how you think that stuff got out there? We got out there. And we're going back out there again. It says God is wise than earth. It means God is something you control. We control the universe, but we had energy deprivation, so we lost control, right? We didn't have enough energy to maintain ourselves. but now we're starting to gain control again. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the the atmosphere reflects our thoughts. It's like music reflects our mood. The atmosphere also reflects our mood, the state of our minds. Because both the pressure. So if you start thinking negatively, then you're going to generate negative weather, negative pressure. That's because pressure is energy. So now you generate negative energy. That means you generate negative pressure. That means you generate negative weather. But we, on the other hand, are generating positive weather now because we generate positive energy. Like I said, we have enough energy to go home. We still have a vision once we get told, because a nation means a nation is a people that have a common vision. And we don't have a common vision now because they get us with Christianity they're doing everything they can to destroy our vision. I'm not going to talk about it here. But the point is, now we're starting to generate positive energy. So therefore, we neutralizing a lot of that negative energy that they're doing. And so that's why they haven't collapsed yet. And that's the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Because it didn't collapse to what? Until they left. Once they left, then they were destroyed by the atmosphere, the weather. The weather destroyed them. Because they was the ones holding it back because they was generating just enough positive energy to keep from total collapse. They was actually keeping the whole thing from collapsing. We actually keeping America from collapse. We wouldn't hear America. And when we left right now, America would collapse overnight immediately. We're the only thing keeping it from. That's why they kind of keep us here. That's why demons are trying to keep. They don't really. They may not understand that away. That's just one aspect of it, because we are their wealth. But see, they understand, they read the scriptures too. And the scriptures, Quran says, Allah will never strike a nation while righteous amongst them. So well, think about that for a minute. Why would he destroy while right? Why he can't separate the righteous from? You say he's this mystical God. He just stop people from waking up in the morning, all that kind of stuff. No, because both of them under pressure, right? And that's what it's talking about. Because our positive pressure is keeping this whole thing from collapsing. We keeping America from collapsing because we generate positive energy. So that's positive weather, right? So you got positive. So in other words, if you owe $100, but you earn $500, right? You earn $500, but you owe $100, right? That means you really only got $400. Okay. So another way of looking at it is say you owe $500, you made $100, right? So that means, well, okay, you only owe $400 because that $100 is not. So say if it takes $500 for you to go bankrupt, if you have to owe $500 to be bankrupt, right? If you have to owe $500 to be bankrupt, right? And you owe 500, but you just made 100. Well, that 100 that you're making is stopping from bankrupt because now you only owe really 400. So long as you keep making 100, that's stopping bankrupting. But if you stop making 100, bam, then you bankrupt. And same thing. So our positive energy, right, is enough to keep the thing from collapsing. And so they desperately keep us here. Like Muhammad said, it'd be like we're hostages. You understand? So for other reasons. So they may understand the mathematically what I'm telling you, but that's the basis of it. So because the minute we leave here, as we see in Daniel, once those in the book of life was taken away, bam, that was it. Time of unprecedented trouble. But it says Jacob will be delivered out of it. So he won't get it. He'll be snatched out. And then boom. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, brothers and sisters. So that's why he saw his bad weather and everything. But the only way it's keeping it from being enough to just destroy this country is our positive energy, right? Because now we're not using it for our benefit, but it's still here. We still got this positive. We're not using it for our benefit, but it's still here. They guys using it to help them, but it's still because now we're not suffering energy deprivation. Now we're starting to, right? We're coming out of energy deprivation. So now we have more energy. Now we have, right now, first we have enough energy to maintain civilization. We still have the vision to do it. Hope you understand, bro. Says I'm trying to make this clear as possible. There's nobody got to leave. There's nobody there who wants to leave. See? Because we are the ones that's keeping Allah from destroying this country. When you understand Allah is just mathematics, the way they talk about in the Quran. When it says Allah is quicker, directly, they talk about Allah, everything is mathematics, everything. See? So when you understand from a Christian point of view, right? Mathematics is the Holy Spirit. It says it looks to the heart of the Father and the Son, right? That's mathematics, everything. Elijah Muhammad said, if Master Muhammad told me mathematics is Islam, Islam is mathematics. So that's Holy Spirit. But the Father, right? In that sense, that's us, the original nation. So we are Allah the Father, right? But mathematics allows the Holy Spirit. See? And the Son, right, in this case, with Master Muhammad, he's the supreme one of us, among us. That's what he's trying to tell you. But the point I'm trying to get you to see is that we control the weather. When we leave, we're going to take good weather with us. And the weather will get better and better and better and better. We get by more positive energy. That's why the Quran says when instruction comes, it said it rain where it shouldn't rain, and he would hold the rain. In other words, the flood, right? There'd be more water where they don't need it, right? And where they need it won't be any, right? So the rain where they don't need rain, right? And there'd be no rain, right? Where they need it. So they got droughts in one part of the country. Where they needed rain was in the east, I mean the west, all around California, around there, big old drought where they need water, rain none, and then where they don't need it, it's rain like crazy, storms and everything. Why is that? See, because that's the negative energy, because the negative thoughts. You got to understand the connection between our thoughts and the atmosphere. If our thoughts are negative, then the atmosphere becomes negative, because our thoughts is generating the energy that's affect the atmosphere is a reflection of our thoughts. It's an extension of us. So we start having negative energy, that's negative vibrations, which our negative energy is bad luck. So then isn't that bad luck if it's raining where it shouldn't, and not raining where it should? That's we're looking at bad luck. So the weather becomes adverse because the negative, because thinking becomes adverse. Sometimes the weather becomes negative because thinking becomes negative. And that why? Because they don't have enough positive energy anymore, and because they need to use all the energy to maintain their structure. And their structure, it becomes increasingly harder because the structure is so weak, and they reach that threshold, and the pressures increase so great that they can't, after a while, there's nothing they can do, and it just collapses. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So once we leave, it collapses immediately. We're the only thing holding it up. I hope I said enough. I really want you to explain. I really want you to understand this concept. Because we control the weather. What you see what's going on out there. See? It's good luck. It's all about timing also. Timing is an aspect of luck. See? You can miss an accident or you can run right into the accident. Mad time, a second late, 5-10 seconds could be a difference between you just missing an accident or getting run into an accident. That's down to positive and negative energy. Also gets back to time traveling. I'm trying to put all these concepts together for you, brothers and sisters. See. So one way they can alleviate the pressure. See, remember, they're using all this energy to maintain the structure. It's impossible to do it. But part of the pressure that's on them is the pressure of the nations. Because everything coming against them. So one way to eliminate that is go to war and destroy those nations. That's putting pressure on you. That gets back to the thing. They're going to war. They're pushing for it because they're under so much pressure. When you're under pressure, you want to relieve that pressure. And who's putting pressure on them? China's putting pressure on them, Russia's putting pressure on them, Iran's putting pressure on them, right? And nobody wants to feel that pressure. They put pressure their military, put pressure their economics. America's economics under extreme pressure, the dollar's under extreme pressure. Because people don't want to deal with the dollar anymore. I'm not going to go into all the details about that, right? And if the people drop the dollar, that will cause economic collapse. Because America, essentially, their dollar is not backed by gold or any precious metal. It's backed by this military power. Like you're the Wild West, you're the fastest gun in the Wild West, you're in the town, and everybody knows no fast guns in town. Everybody's gonna stop you from you going and borrow everything you want to. Nobody's gonna mess with you. You're the whole time. Now, hey, give me. Oh, yeah, okay. Put on my bill. What are they gonna say? No. I'm gonna stay in a hotel. Put on my bill. Oh, what are they gonna say? No. So what it's backed by? It's backed by you because your power. Your ability because you're fast on the draw. That's what your credit is backed by. So if you mess around and break your hand or something like that, you can't draw no more. Whoa, you're in trouble. Or somebody else come in town, right? Or somebody start practicing in the backyard, you don't know it. And that's what America's economy is backed by its military might, not by gold, anything like that. See? So they borrowed all this money from China. See? After a while, China says, I know you ain't gonna pay me back. China's strong enough so they can resist it now. Because before, all the countries that resisted, they got rich. That's what happened to Libya. Happened to Libya. They said we're not going to use a dollar anymore. Where's Libya at now? Same thing in Iraq. We're not going to use a dollar anymore. We're at Iraq now. See? But that's what China's saying, but they can't just run over China. And China says, hey, I'll mess with them, I'll crack your head. You've been watching the news. China gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So when China says, okay, we're not lending you more money because we know you're not going to pay it back, then what does America do then? They're going to go bankrupt. See? The way to solve the problem is take out China. Then you don't owe them anything. Go to war with them, you win, you don't owe them anything, right? You kill your creditors, you don't owe anything. That's the deal. So we see war on the rise. That's an indication of the pressure America's under. They're trying to relieve this pressure. All the institutions are crushing. All the institutions are crumbling. And so what they're going to got to find some kind of way to avoid it. All this crazy stuff going on doesn't make any sense. So what's going on? I can't understand what's going on in America. The crime waves. That's an indication of pressure itself. Pressure is collisions. Collisions interact with people. The greater the intensity, right? That's crime. That's killing people. That's fighting. Riots. So when you understand this concept, bro, since you understand all this here, you don't need the Quran or the Injil to tell you that. Because that's just the mathematics, that's the wisdom, mathematics of pressure. That's what I'm trying to show you here. I'm trying to show how it manifests in this particular situation. See. Okay, brothers and sisters. That's what I wanted to do. I guess that's pretty much it. So I want to understand what weather, because you have to understand everything. If you're the God, you have to understand that. And you're angel warriors, you're going to be totally armed, right? In every way possible. You're going to be the most powerful warriors ever. Because I'm arming you in every sense of the word, right? And you beacons, right? You're going to be intensely bright. See, you're going to blind all the demons. See, they be so bright that our people can't help but see you. That's what happened here, brothers and sisters. So if you have any problems with this, if you don't understand it, let me know. Contact me. So that's what weather. So now you understand what's going on with this weather. And why we need to get out of here. Because when we get out of here, it collapses. If we stay here, right? If eventually we'll collapse anyway because we're holding it up. How long can we hold it up? Because more of them than us. So negativity overcome our, we supporting it. Our positivity is keeping it from crushing, but the negativity, you see, negativity is growing worse every day. Nothing makes sense in this country anymore. Nothing doesn't make any sense because the pressure is crushing their ability because they don't have enough energy to maintain structure. So structural deformation. It takes an increased amount of energy to try to keep the structure going, and they can't afford it. And eventually, even us be here, they'll be crushed and take us with them, and we still here. That's what I mean by time travel, right? So we create time, and that means, right, you don't be here when this place collapses. Because if you're behind time, you'll be here. If you're ahead of time, then you're ahead of all of it. It's like being ahead of a hurricane. You outrun the hurricane. See? So if you're a time lord, that you keep up with time, right? Because you're creating your future. So you're creating a future where there's no hurricane. But if you ain't doing fast enough, then the hurricane catch you, takes you out. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. I think that's pretty much it right there. Let's see if there's anything else. That's it, brothers and sisters. The weather, you have control of it. We have control of it. See, and you'll be more clear when you get hereafter because remember, every time we increase in energy, we become more conscious, right? We become our minds back clear, so we understand our control. Because right now we don't understand the control we have because we don't have control of ourselves right now because we have a faulty vision. Somebody's taking our vision away, so we have the energy, but now we have to have the vision restored. That's my job to get that vision restored. That's why I said you cannot return to have a thorough knowledge of yourself. What that means, you got to have your vision back. That's what it means, thorough knowledge of yourself. You have to have vision back. A nature without vision perish. And they fast at work, destroying your vision. See? Especially Mr. Farrakhan, killer vision. That's what killer vision. That's his job. Kill a vision. Kill your vision. He's a killer vision. That's his job. Keep you here, supporting this hell that's against you, that's keeping them alive. Because we keep them alive. The only reason why they're still around, brothers and sisters, because you just have not come to thorough knowledge yourself. You have not come to the understanding of yourself. You haven't uploaded this angel. That's the only reason why they're still here. You want to maintain this system. You're the only one keeping it from crumbling. It's your positivity, right? Because you're positive by nature. Your heart is generate positive vibes, but it's really not doing it effectively because it's not that firm because you're wasting energy. But you still energy wasting is still positive energy that's here in this America. So you might be wasted, but still positive. And that's where that positive energy is offsetting that negative energy. That's why keeping the weather from totally destroying them. So instead of being a 100-mile-an-hour hurricane, it's a 70-mile hurricane because you're knocking off 30 miles of it because you're positive energy. You're slowing it down. You understand, brothers and sisters? Once we're out here, there's nothing to hold it back. That's why when Abraham and Lot left Sodom and Gomorrah, they was gone immediately. Immediately. That's what that story means. Read the story. Okay, assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.